This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, Bruchim Abba, welcome everyone. Agun Erev Shabbos Parshas Savo, the Parsha of the Teichacha. So, actually yesterday we had part 2 of the Wednesday night Shiur of the concept of trying to do Teshuva daily. And the following idea was shared based on the Pardes Rimonim of the Ramak, and as well as the Shla HaKadosh, that every day is a living entity, and once the day is over, it goes back to its source, and it's harder to rectify once the day is over, and therefore it's recommended that one try to do Teshuva every day before the end of the day. So we see there's an idea that every day one should infuse with Kedusha. It's hard to go back and rectify it after the fact. So on that note, this Shiur is being sponsored on behalf of Daily Giving, which is a really amazing opportunity for a person to make sure that every day of their life is connected to the mitzvah of tzedakah. One can go to dailygiving.org and participate and instantly rack up at least one mitzvah every single day. Okay, what's also I'm going to take you now to our site, rabbidg.com. We're going to see some of the Divrei Torah for this week. While here, if anybody is watching, you can subscribe to get the Divrei Torah every single week in the email on Erev Shabbos, as well as all of the information that comes out during the week. You go to the site, you just click subscribe, put in your email address, and it comes to you no charge. Okay, so over here on the site, there are 2 ways of downloading the Mar Mekayimos. There are 2 places to download. By the way, while you're here, you could check out the Shiurim on the Parsha, the Balaturim, the Ramban, the Ben La'ashri, which are only available on the OU All Parsha site and app, or you could access it here on our site. So first, we're going to start with the Divrei Torah in English, and I'm going to share with you one thought. And we go to Savo. This week, Savo is the top one. And here it is. And I want to share with you the following Dvar Torah. Okay. First of all, this is the question brought by the Chida, citing the Maharam ben Chaviv, who asks, it says, V'la kachta me'reishis kol peri ha'adama. Wait a second. You should take from the beginning of all fruits of the Adama. Aren't Bikurim pri ha'etz? Why are they being called pri ha'adama? After all, they come from the Shiva Saminim. It should say, V'la kachta me'rishis kol pri ha'etz asher tavi me'artzecha. Now, the Maram ben Chaviv gives the following 2 answers. Answer number 1. At the time of the Bikurim, the farmer ties the reed around the fruit, and at that stage of the fruit, before the fruit is ripe, the correct bracha is Barei Pri Ha'adama. So actually it is Pri Ha'adama. Number 2, one of the Shiva Saminim is wheat, and the bracha on wheat is also Barei Pri Ha'adama, but the Chida has a question on this explanation. He says that the opinion of certain Tanoim is that wheat is Barei Pri Ha'etz, and the Chida actually offers the following answer. The reason why we say Pri Ha'adama is the purpose of Bikurim is to show gratitude for Hashem for the gift of the Adama, of Eretz Yisrael. By the way, there is an amazing Ha'ara of Rav Hagoyin Rav Menachem Zemba, Zechatzak Levracha. He references the Mishnah Bikurim that the fruits that are listed in the Mishnah Bikurim are Rimoin, Gefen, and Te'ena. Why does the Mishnah Bikurim specifically refer to Rimoin, Gefen, and Te'ena? All the Shiva Saminim are Chayv and Bikurim, figs and dates. The answer is those are the very same fruits that the Meraglim used to come up with their bad report. And therefore, this alludes to the fact that the purpose of Bikurim, like the Chida says, is not just to show gratitude to Hashem for the fruits, but to show gratitude to Hashem for Eretz Yisrael itself. So, that's an important thing. First of all, let's say you happen to have gone to Eretz Yisrael this week's Parsha. This is the best Parsha to go to Eretz Yisrael. Why? Because V'haya, Rav Meir Shapiro says, Ein v'haya el lashon simcha, ki savayu el haaretz. When you come into Eretz Yisrael, you have simcha. So this is the Parsha of coming into Eretz Yisrael. And the mitzvah of Bikurim is to teach that not only are we grateful for the fruits, we're grateful for Eretz Yisrael itself. That's why the pasuk says, Meresh is kol pri ha'adama. And that's why the fruits mentioned in the Masechta Bikurim are dafka, the fruits of that the Meraglim used to show their distaste for Eretz Yisrael. We're masaking that with the mitzvah Bikurim. Okay, once we're here, I want to share with you one more thought. This is a famous thought of Reb Shamshon Raphael Hirsch. Actually, I was wondering where it is in Reb Shamshon Raphael Hirsch because it's quoted in the Ma'ayanot Shel Torah. And then when I was preparing the Tefillah Shiur, Reb Schwab quotes this Reb Hirsch on Mizmor L'Soida. Anyway, there's a well-known pasuk. Vayidaber Moshe v'Hakanim Elavim al Kol Yisrael Lemar Haskeis Shema Yisrael Hayoim Hazeh Niyesa La'am. Today you became a people. Really? This is the worst juncture for Moses to tell the Jewish people that today we became a people. Now we became a people? What makes a nation a nation? Either common language or common land. Common language we always had. Common land we don't have in the Midbar. That's one thing for sure. We had no common land in the Midbar. In fact, we had no land at all. So why? They're draying around in the Midbar. They have nothing in common, nothing to grant them nationality. Why is Moshe Rabbeinu saying, Hayoim niyesa la'am, today you're a nation? No, today you're not a nation. Says Rav Shamshon Raphael Hirsch, what makes a Jewish people a nation is different than all other people. Other people are connected by some kind of physical connection. They have a common land, a common language. That is not what makes Klal Yisrael people. As Reb Sadia Goin says, Ein Yisrael Uma Ela B'Torah. We are only a nation through our commitment to the Torah. The day the Jewish people committed themselves ba'ala u'b'shvua to observe the Torah, that's when we became a people. We are not like the nations of the world. They're a nation because they live in the same plot of land, or they're a nation because they speak the same language. What makes Klal Yisrael a nation is not Lashon HaKodesh. It's not Eretz Yisrael. What makes Klal Yisrael an Am is the Torah. Today that you've committed to the Torah, today you became a nation. Okay, let's move on to Ben La'ashri. Okay, by now you should be able to do it in your sleep. You go to the site, you click here, the Ben La'ashri, and Parshas Kisavai. Friends, if I could do this, anyone could do it. Okay? So, here's a Ben La'ashri. You should print it out. I'm very honored. I got a email this week from someone who asked their brother to email me that they're in prison, and they give a chabura to the fellow from prisoners from the Ben La'ashri on the Parsha. So, okay. Baruch Hashem. So, the Rebbe Hashem should be Matir Asurim. So, V'haya ki savaya al ha'aretz. We have many Divrei Torah on the idea, V'haya, and you will be besimcha when you come into Eretz Yisrael. So the Ben La'ashri asks, why is it that many people come to Eretz Yisrael and they don't feel that simcha? So he says, the gematria of Asher Hashem Lekecha Noisin Lecha Nachala Rashi Tevos is gematria Kula, is because sometimes we are too lenient regarding the observance of mitzvos, and that will impugn our ability to feel simcha. However, the Torah consoles us, and the Torah says, V'yarashta v'yashavta ba. You will inherit it and you will dwell in it. Vav Vav Beis. Rashi Tevos Vav Vav Beis. David. Which indicates, Rabbi say, that the Gemara tells us in Sanhedrin, Mashiach will come when we're either kulei zakai or kulei chayev. Entirely unworthy or entirely worthy. If that's the case, how will we ever be totally worthy? The answer is Mashiach will come, and when Mashiach comes, we'll have Herhure Tshuva, and at that moment we will be transformed from not worthy to worthy. So he said, Rabbi Glatstein, we haven't spoken about Rav Meir in a long time. You know what? You're right. It's been too long since we spoke about Rav Meir. So you see this little box over here on the bottom? Let's see if we could. Here's what we're going to do. Check that. Watch this. put this to the side. The Ben La'ashri Agavorcha mentions something very interesting. On Rosh Hashanah we take a rimon. Why do we take a rimon on Rosh Hashanah? So we say Hashem should be marbe our mitzvahs like a rimon. But there's another deeper meaning. The Maggid of Trisk in the Sefer Magen Avram says, we to God are like a rimon. Like the Gemara says, even those who are empty of mitzvos are full of mitzvos like a rimon. Why do Chazal compare the Jewish people to a rimon? Why don't we say we're full of pits like, anybody want to suggest a fruit that has a lot of pits? A fig. By the way, a fig has a lot of fruit, a lot of pits in it, What is it? Why do we have something against the figs? Well, how many, by the way, I would say a fig has more pits than a rimon, no? No, you're looking at me like, where did you get that from? Yeah.
Ridiculously high number.
We absolutely did have an experiment about a rimon. That was one of the classic shiurim.
One had a lot more, one had a lot less.
Yes, one had a lot. We actually cut open a few and we did different experiments with the rimon. But why dafka rimon? So he says, the Maggid of Trisk says that the Gemara asks, how was Reb Meir allowed to learn Torah from Acher? Remember that question? How was Reb Meir allowed to learn Torah? So the Gemara says, Reb Meir found a pomegranate, he took out the inside and he threw away the shell. Which means that a rimon has two parts, the inner part which is good and the outer shell. This, says the Maggid of Trisk, is a mashal. Reb Meir is a mashal to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because Hashem is called Meir. Like the Gemara in Avodah Zarah, Elaka de Meir Anini, God who illuminates for us, He should answer us. God is called Meir. I would add, there's another comparison we have between Reb Meir and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This I thought of during the year, but I never did anything with it. We know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that Rabbi said, the reason I'm great is because I saw Reb Meir from behind. If I would have saw his face, I would have been even greater. Same thing about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Amazingly, what Rebbe said he saw about Reb Meir is what Moshe experienced with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So what Reb Meir did with Acher, God does to us. God takes our mitzvahs and He throws away the external shell and the ulterior motives and the improper aspects of it. The Ribbono Shel Olam takes away from that. Now, fine. Let us progress over here. V'haya ki savaya la'aretz. Now we know ein v'haya ela lashon simcha. But wait a second, you're going to be happy when you come to this world? Doesn't the Gemara in Eruvin say, Noyach lo la'adam shaloi nivra? A person's better off not being created? So what's v'haya ki savaya la'aretz? The answer is, you know how you could be happy in this world? If you recognize Asher Hashem Elokecha noisin lecha nachala, recognize that whatever hatzlacha you have is not from your strength, it's not from your ability. Even the nachala that falls to you, it's not because of you, it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Then you'll be happy, and then it won't be so hard to open up your hand and to support Loimdei Torah, because you recognize that Ribbono Shel Olam only gave it to you as a gift. This is not anything of your own ability or acumen, and so forth. Okay, Marv Rabbi, these are a few thoughts on the Parsha. We have two in English, two in Lashon HaKodesh, and Be'ez Hashem, we're going to start now the Shiur on Tefillah. Okay. Now, let me get that up.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.